we're here, but we are. We had 190 contract submissions, and I think our total is, Jason, 180? 187 for today. So thanks for being here. Before we start, someone was going to say a prayer for us, and they're not here yet. Let's just ask the Lord's blessing upon our time. Father, we do thank you for the great state of Alabama, and I ask that you would lead, guide, and direct our steps here as we are about doing the people's business. And thank you for all those who are here and the work that they do to serve this state. And we ask your blessing upon this time in Christ's name. Amen. All right, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Senator Albritton? Senator Beasley? Senator Butler? Senator Elliott? Representative England? Representative Garrett? Senator Orr? Representative Pringle? Representative Reynolds?
Here.
Senator Roberts?
Here.
Representative Witt?
Okay, we have a quorum. Any comments from the committee before we start? Seeing none. First up, Administrative Office of Courts. Hi.
Hello. These are our court referral officer contracts that are.
Could you please state your name?
My name
Please
is
remember
Leslie.
to state your name when you come up. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm sorry. Leslie Jacks with the Administrative Office of Courts. And these are our court referral contracts that are mandated by the Mandatory Treatment Act of 1990.
All right, Leslie, before we get started, this pretty much covers from the top of page 1 through the top of page 21. We had a plethora of submittal issues. I guess you're aware of that. I would really ask that we can do better than what we've done here. It's probably a third of them had to be sent back, worked back and forth, and we're working very hard to do a great job. We just need everybody to do the best job on the initial submission,
Yes,
if you
sir.
could. All right, I got a question on the top of page 1 for the City of Auburn. We're also doing one for Lee County. Can you explain the difference there, please, ma'am?
I really cannot explain the difference. I do not, I'm not over this program. I just know that they, it's based off of what they bring into the court, but I'm not sure. I can get someone to contact you.
We just love an answer. We'll hold the Auburn one.
Okay.
Bottom page 1. If anybody has any comments, speak up. Page 2, any questions? Page 3, the top, initial rejection of the contract, dollar figure on the cover sheet didn't match, and E-Verify was not signed, one problem. Page 4, the bottom one there, same thing, dollar amounts didn't match what the contract was, and E-Verify not signed. Page 6, initial rejection, vendor disclosure statement wasn't completed. These are really easy things to get straight in your office.
Okay.
All right, page 7, any questions? Page 8. Page 9. 10. 11. Top of page 12, cover sheet missing dates, cover sheet not signed by agency head. 13, 14, 15, both of these had to go back and forth, no contract number, and cover sheet did not list vendor, owner, members. Bottom page 16, vendor disclosure statement was incomplete. 17, 18, initially rejected, vendor disclosure statement was incomplete. 19, 20, and then to the top of 21. Any questions on any of those? All right, we're good.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We're going to hold just that first one, if you can give us an understanding of Lee County and Auburn there.
Yes, sir.
There's also a Hoover and Shelby County. I'm sure the answer will be clear in both of those.
Okay, yes, sir. I'll get the director
Thank you very
to
much.
contact you. Thank you.
All right, bottom page 21, Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission. Dollar figure did not match the cover sheet of the contract. I'm sorry, go ahead, sir.
Mr. Chairman, Daniel Autry with the Cannabis Commission. This is a renewal of a contract with Metric LLC to provide statewide seed and seed-to-sale services for the program as required by statute.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
sorry, I made it.
Okay, oh, did you?
Yes,
Okay.
sir. I have a question when you're okay with that.
You're good to go, sir.
Mr. Autry, I'm trying to figure out where is this money coming from? Where's the budget housed?
At this point, it comes from the general fund. Yes, sir.
And Mr. Chairman, I guess that's something y'all are accounting for, is it?
That was out of the initial allotment that was provided to the commission.
How much do we have left? Because I know between legal fees and things like this, I'm just wondering,
I can't speak to his
I just-
internal budget. I don't know where he's at.
do you know the answer?
It's, well, you mentioned legal fees. That's unending, it seems to be. But let me correct one thing I said. We do have some resources. Each year we've requested from the general fund. I believe the statute states that we are to draw from the general fund through 2025, thinking that at that point the program would be self-sustaining. At this point, we are receiving some income from licensees who have indeed received a license. So we do have some income, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any
I'll
other
just
questions?
tell you on paperwork, we've done this. You had problems last time. Let's just get it right.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Senator.
Top of page 22, Aaliyah.
Good afternoon. My name is Michelle Cohn. I'm an attorney for Aaliyah, and today Aaliyah has two contracts. Our first contract is with Fast Enterprises LLC. This is the fourth amendment to our original contract, and it is to increase production support for our driver's license system.
Okay, I've got, this was initially solicited, awarded in November of 19. When will this be RFP'd?
That's correct. So this contract was for a complete overhaul to build a new driver's license system. So we will not need to RFP it again. What we'll need to do is maintain this system. So the next contract will look a lot different. This one ends in July of 2025. At that point, we'll just need to pay for hosting and maintenance services. So we will likely just contract with Fast Enterprises for those services.
How is it going so far?
It's going great. I have a lot of stats that I can give you if you afterwards, if you want. We've got an info sheet we can give you about some of the benefits that we've seen over the last 5 years with the new system. So,
Okay. Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am.
okay, I have one more contract. It's an architectural agreement for a new driver's license office in Montgomery on Aaliyah's property on Coliseum Boulevard.
Any questions? See none, thank you.
Thank you.
Top of page 23, assisted living administrators.
Senator Roberts and committee members, I'm Jim Sasser, board attorney. We got Sue Jackson, past chair of the board and current board member.
All right, any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I have one. Mr. Sasser, under the justification listed on this contract, and I'll read it to you verbatim, it says the Austin Group LLC has experience and expertise in providing administrative services for state agencies and boards, which a merit system employee is unlikely to possess.
Yes, Senator Elliott.
You don't think a merit system employee could administer a board?
Well, let me just say the experience of this board. Before the Austin Group took over this board in 2020, there was a state employee, merit system employee, and I'll let Ms. Jackson speak to the problems the board experienced because of that.
We had problems with testing. She was giving the wrong test. She was not answering 800 emails that when I had, as chairman then, I had to let her go. I had to work there at the office for 2 weeks by myself. I had to leave my full-time position job to help with it. So we had phone calls that weren't being returned. We had people that were taking wrong tests. And we also were paying her benefits. She was working part-time. Since we brought on the Austin Group, we have saved the state of Alabama $30,000 a year. We're not having to pay benefits, and we don't have to pay rent right now since the Austin Group has taken over.
And I don't for 1 second think that you may have had a substandard employee. I just think it's a really bold statement to say that a merit system employee would be unable to run a board or handle the administrative functions of a board. I mean, there are merit system employees all over the state of Alabama doing just that. It's just quite a statement. I mean, do we not think all the other boards or agencies that are run by merit system employees are competent, or that somehow or another the Austin Group LLC provides something that that any merited system employee couldn't do?
Senator Elliott, I don't say that any state employee or merit system employee can do, but this particular board and how it's run and how it's being run, particularly today, is much better than it was, 5 years ago.
Mr. Cheshire, I don't doubt that you didn't have a bad employee. I just think it's a really overarching and preposterous statement, frankly, to say that a merit system employee is unlikely to possess the expertise to administer a small regulatory board.
Point taken, Your Honor, Senator.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Attorney General Office.
Clay Crenshaw with the AG's office. This is a contract with Cynthia Moore, who's a DNA family genealogist. She's going to speak to our law enforcement summit that we
Any
hold.
questions? Okay, next.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Clay. Chiropractor Examiner Board, top of 24.
Carrie Forbes, Executive Assistant to the Chiropractic Board. We have just an extension of our CPA's contract for a few months to count this year's ballots for our election, because
Okay.
we only have one seat coming up, so.
Gotcha, thank you. Thanks for being here, by the way. Any questions? Thank you very much. Commerce.
Good afternoon. I'm Tammy Wilkinson with the Department of Commerce Workforce Development Division. We have two contracts. One is Smart Solutions. It's our Oracle database support for our WIOA, our Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act reporting system.
We had some math errors on the cover sheet, and original contract was not included. Anyway, the details matter when you send these in. This one and the next one both had problems.
Yes, sir.
Help me help you if you
Yes, sir.
could. But our staff over here we had 190 contracts submitted, and it just creates a lot of problems. I know everybody's in a hurry.
We
Let's
appreciate
do it right.
And we apologize.
Okay, any questions on this first one, bottom of 24? All right. Top of 25?
We have a second one. It's the Career Team Enterprise or Career Edge. This is soft skills software for our WIOA youth participants, and it's federal funding for both of these.
We had errors on this one.
Yes, sir.
Any
We'll make
other
sure to correct
questions
that.
here? All right, we're good there.
Thank
Bottom
you.
25, McKinsey, any questions on that? Where'd she go? Oh,
We're also with Commerce.
I'm
I'm Hunter
sorry.
Talley. We kind of split up workforce and business development at Commerce. That's
like,
why we-
where'd she go?
Yes, we have a contract with McKinsey. It's in the duration of 1 year for $1,387,500.
Okay, any questions? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Conservation, top of 26.
Good afternoon. Juliana Dean for the Department of Conservation. We have 8 contracts before you today, 3 for engineering design services, 2 for land surveying, 2 for guest lodging through tiny homes, and 1 for data collection, analysis, and reporting. And that's our first one. Mark Damien, doing business as responsive management. This is service to generate our hunter harvest report. It's federally mandated, and it's paid for 75% through federal funds.
All right, I'm gonna help you as we go through here. Any questions on the top of 26? Next one's professional land surveying, bottom of 26. Any questions? Top of 27, land surveying. Questions? HDR engineering, bottom of 27. Question, how could the original contract be so far off when we're coming back on this one? Any thoughts on that?
Yes, sir. We added to the scope of work. We now are doing the new cottages at Wind Creek State Park, so that resulted in an increase in the amounts.
Okay, any questions? All right, top of 28. Thompson Engineering. Here again, a rather significant increase.
Yes, sir. We're transitioning to a new phase of the project involving design work and construction, so we budgeted for that amount.
Any questions? Okay, bottom of 28.
Yes, sir. This is the first of 3 contracts that we have for tiny homes for guest lodging. The third one will be presented next month, and it will be an additional option for our park guests to stay in our facilities.
Go ahead.
So, were these put out for bid?
They were RFP'd, yes, sir, competitively.
Are they going to build these cabins, or are they just going to back mobile homes in?
My understanding is they will be assembled in our state parks.
So they're prefabricated like Katrina cottages?
That's my understanding, but they're very nice structures. I've brought some pictures if you'd like to see them afterwards, so.
So, because the other one's a mobile home dealer. Both Arch Mobile Home Sales down in Irvington.
My understanding is we'll have over 20 different models, and they'll be placed in different parks and part of a greater aesthetic, and like I said, providing options to our guests
So
and generating more revenue as a result of that.
they're not mobile homes, they're going to be prefabricated houses.
They're tiny homes, so I'll be sure to relay that back and provide you the specifications if that would be helpful.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Trying to get an understanding of costs per tiny home, mobile home, whatever they are. Any ideas on cost per home?
Yes, sir. They'll range between $50,000 and $120,000. They'll be turnkey units, fully furnished, very nice structures.
All right, any questions? Bottom of 28. Okay, that's it. I missed a page. I missed one.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sorry, 29. Same thing,
Yes, sir.
same price range.
Correct. That's my understanding. And then the last one is for engineering design services.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir.
Corrections?
Good afternoon. I'm Mandy Spears with the Alabama Department of Corrections. Today we have 4 contracts on the agenda, the first of which is the Moss Group. This is a 1-year, $377,000 contract.
Sole source?
Yes, sir. We have been working with them since about 2014, and this is a continuation of projects that we are already in development with them for. And this is the last year of this, under this contract.
So if we do it again, we're going to put it out RFP?
We're going to see if there is another or if it remains a sole source. So we will explore options. 1, if these services remain needed, and 2, if there are other vendors available.
Okay.
So the Moss Group is to help services for sexual safety, operational practice, staff training, compliance, mainstream continuity of efforts with regard to male inmate pilot risk reduction plan.
Correct.
I will send you this video of my client's son getting off the floor, pulling his pants up after they just raped him in our prison.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah, you think you are? Imagine how his mother felt when she was sent this video. And you ought to see the bruises and batter on him. Are they addressing this in any way, shape, or form?
Yes, sir. As I come here every month to say we are making great strides in this area, I'd love to talk with you offline. I invite you to come over and speak to any of us, come to any of our facilities and see the things that we have really tried to turn around in the last few years.
No, this poor lady is just, I mean, the son's constantly getting, it beat out of him. And this one, I couldn't tell because the video's bad, but he's getting up off the floor and pulling his pants up. It only leads me to believe they were filming him because they sent this to her and said, we just raped your son. We're going to do it again if you don't send us money. Thank you. I'm not going to say because I don't want to get the kid in trouble because they'll beat him up again.
Would you
rape him again?
Well, I was going to say, if you'd like to pass that information.
I've sent the name and number to y'all numerous times. Thank you.
Representative England.
This is as a result of the settlement, isn't it?
Correct.
So it's not something that the Department of Corrections just decided to do. I mean, this is something that's part of a settlement in a case regarding some of the same things that Representative Pringle, the history that the Department of Corrections has with this sort of thing. So this is actually just pursuant to a order from a court from a settlement from a lawsuit, right?
Yes, sir. And they're helping us implement the things necessary under those settlements.
And this settlement itself, how long has this been? Like, how many years has it's been in place now?
It predates my time at the correction, so I'm sorry, I don't have that information.
But I'm not trying to.
No, sir. We've been working with them since 2014, so these court cases have been going on for a while.
Well, it just doesn't seem like things are getting any better, but I know what you're saying, and I know what you say every time you come here, I've heard it a lot, but I know my email, they're inundated with these sorts of things, pictures and videos, images, and the like. And, I've over the last, I don't know how many years, as a result of so many different lawsuits, and leadership changes and rises in amount of people who are incarcerated, it's just very hard for someone on the outside, especially at the legislative level, to see, any real progress being made, because it just seems like this is a constant theme. Keep seeing it over and over again, inundated with emails, inundated with stories. And, this is a purely executive branch function, mostly. But, on the legislative side, we've had to do things on our side to kind of fill the void of what appears to be just, I'm not going to say lack of effort, because that's clearly not the case, but it's just something is not working. Something isn't working. And, I think some of the other contracts that are on today's agenda also kind of reflect some of the same issues, same problems, costs going up, we pay more money, but we get less in return. So, I've heard Representative Pringle talk about this before, And I think it's a general theme amongst most legislators that, we've got to figure out something. Because like I said, to me, it just appears that this just keeps getting worse. So, thank you.
And I do think we are working at making progress with no question. Representative Pringle and I serve on prison oversight under Chairman Chambliss's leadership, and we've made some strides in this. We just have to do better. Yes, sir.
To that end, that's one of the things, that's why I mentioned that it appears that the legislative branch is taking on more of the responsibility for some of these issues than the executive branch is, which is just quite frustrating, because some of the things that we're trying to do legislatively could be quicker and more efficiently and effectively done just by a stroke of the pen from the governor's office. So, I mean, obviously it's a collaborative effort between all the branches of government to work on this issue. It just seems like not all branches of government that are responsible for this issue are carrying the same amount of weight.
All right, any other questions, comments? Okay, we're good on that. Bottom of page 30.
All right, our next contract is Yes Care, and something that's really positive for our agency, that the legislature appropriated about $2 million from the opioid settlement fund to the Department of Corrections to use for this purpose. This purpose is to get our population off of opioids. To do this specifically to assist through the treatment of substance use disorders with medication-assisted therapy. This is a contract to enable us to do that the legislature directed us to do. Oh, I have Deputy Commissioner Deborah Cook here.
Okay, I want to say something first.
Yes, sir.
We approved a contract April of 2023
Yes,
for
sir.
$1,064,440,666,000, right?
Correct.
So we got $2 million in opioid settlement monies that was allocated towards the DOC. And then we're giving it to Yes Care to implement a new program, or was none of this covered under what they were doing prior to this?
I'm going to allow Ms. Crook, who's our head of health services, to address the specifics.
Okay, thanks, Mandy.
Hi, good afternoon. I'm Deborah Crook. I'm the Deputy Commissioner of Health Services. So the opioid settlement monies that were allotted for the DOC was $2.5 million. And the reason we have $2 million on here is it's a not to exceed amount. When I looked at the number of individuals we'll be serving, it will be under that amount, but we had to put a not to exceed amount, and we chose $2 million as that amount. It is not in the current contract. We, as an organization, the Department of Corrections, provides all of the substance use disorder programming. We are just asking for Yes Care to provide the medications, and we have looked at the Department of Mental Health and ADPH to provide those medications, but we're unable to procure through them. So Yes Care has agreed to allow us to do that as a pass-through. So it is not general fund money, it is the grant money, or excuse me, the appropriated money.
So would this be Suboxone-based, or what medications are you looking at?
Suboxone is one of the medications we'll be using, but we also will be using a medication. It's called Rivia. So it is also a medication that we're able to use. We also use methadone, but that is part of our contract with with Yes Care. Methadone is used for our pregnant population. Yes, sir.
All right, any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, just real quick, and I can add to that, and you correct me if I'm wrong, but this actually began last year with opioid dollars related to a pilot project within the prison system. It seemed to be successful.
Yes, sir.
We also funded through the probation and parole, and so extended it 6 months after EOS, after they're out of prison. And then this year, the Opioid Commission expanded that dollar amount. So I would assume, be treating more inmates.
Yes, sir.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Cook, who administered the pilot program? DOC or Yes Care?
Yes Care. We worked collaboratively. It was a small program up at Donaldson Correctional Facility. So it was so that we could establish our policies and put our procedures in place and make sure our programming was appropriate. So it was a small program, and we found a lot of success and saved lives through that program and reduced the number of overdoses.
What success? Can you tell me what success is?
So yes, we have currently 118 individuals that are in our program, and we've had 8 people that have actually graduated from the program, so are no longer on medications, and that's over the course of the year. So anyway, that's what we're seeing, and the reduction in overdoses is also because those individuals are being identified as individuals that have a high probability of overdose, maybe by previous history or by their own referral to themselves. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Any other questions? Thank you, ma'am. I'm sorry, go ahead. Mr. Beasley.
Mr. Chairman, I want to just kind of add to this conversation. This is the question I have has nothing to do with opioid treatment. It's been brought to my attention that a facility in my district has unpaid invoices from Yes Care, and they transport patients from the institution to a hospital.
Yes, sir.
And they cannot get confirmation of payment. If they've been allocated over $1 billion, they certainly should be able to pay invoices for transport of an inmate to a hospital.
Yes, sir.
Would you look into that?
I sure will. Yes, sir.
You get with me, I'll tell you who it is.
I think I know, but okay, I sure will. Yes, sir.
All right,
Thank you.
Thank you, Senator Beasley. All right, any other questions on this? Okay. Top of 31, back to you, Mandy.
All right, our third our third contract today is with Union Supply Group. This was RFP'd earlier this summer, and Union Supply is the vendor with whom DOC selected to provide these services. They will provide 2 different programs. There's a clothing package or an incentive package, and then there's the winter footwear and clothing package. This is no cost to ADOC. It is for loved ones to buy their incarcerated family members these incentive packages.
Any questions? Okay.
All right, our final contract was also RFP'd earlier this summer, and this is our comprehensive inmate communication system. This includes telephones, video visitation, their personal education devices. This contract, again, is no cost to ADOC. We've elected Securus Technology to enter into this contract.
What is it doing?
They provide all of the telephones that the inmates use. They provide all the video visitation. They provide the personal education devices, the PEDs or tablets. They also do a lot of data extraction. They provide us with a lot of contraband tools and things like that.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, ma'am. Education, top of page 32.
Good afternoon, Chairman and members. Tina Hammonds for the Department of Education this afternoon. We have 7 general contracts and then a legal contract for later on.
Okay.
So our first one is with LP Digital Media Group, and this is going to be for the professional filming and production of 30 total videos in this particular extension to be used for PD and as a resource for all of our Alabamians who are working within the Literacy Act to help promote all of the different initiatives of that act. So it will serve as an example and a model, a storage bank of PD, and then also actual videos that can be rolled out to the various teachers and coaches.
Will we own those, or will they be owned by the vendor?
I would assume we own those. Most of the things that we do like this are created for us to be able to keep, and I think we have the bank.
Okay. Questions? Okay.
Our next one is with Cognia, Inc. This is going to basically be a provision of data and reporting services, professional development, performance review processes, monitoring, all different sorts of things that we have to do for improvement, meeting standards, federal reporting. It was RFP'd with a suite of things that they will be doing for us.
Any questions? Thank you. Topic 33.
Yes, sir. Our next one is with Coolidge for Center Street Consulting. This is from our special education group. This consultant serves as an external researcher, evaluator, assessment analysis, and assessment reporter for the Alabama State Systemic Improvement Plan, SSIP, and the OSEP special education programs. She works with our parent involvement data. So this is an extension of work that she's been doing with us. This is a current sole source to extend work that she's been doing, and it will be RFP'd next time.
Questions?
One, Mr. Chairman, if I may.
Yes, sir.
So it'll be RFP next time, but it's a sole source now.
Yes, sir. She's been working with the department for about 14 years. This is a fully federal program, and she has been doing the things that we have to do for the federal compliance, and she is going to complete that work as far as she can that she's currently involved in, and then we're going to try to back everything out and RFP to see if anyone else would like to take on those duties for the future.
Good progress. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
All right. Bottom 33.
Okay, this is with APEC, the Alabama Parent Education Center. This is also federally funded. This is a sole source. From what I have been able to learn, there is one PTI, which is a Parent Training Information Center per state. And we have a grant wherein we have to partner with the PTI that is in our state, and the grant works 5 years at a time. So we are partnering with the APEC, which is the one Parent Training Information Center for our state, in order to be able to provide families with children with disabilities with training, information, and support to increase their knowledge and awareness of best practices for reading development, transition to school, community resources, et cetera. It's all under a federal grant.
Any questions? Okay.
Okay, our next one will be page 34. That's with Data Recognition Corporation, DRC. So this is was RFP'd for 1 year, and they are going to provide the professional and technical services that we need for test development, administration, and scoring, and reporting for the ACAP summative, alternate, and practice tests, along with the development and implementation of scoring for the ACAP supplemental reading test as required by the Alabama Literacy Act.
It's just a huge number.
Yes, sir, it is. The testing and assessments that are required for us to not only help promote the testing and the work of the teachers that we have to make sure that our kids are progressing adequately, but also to keep up with all of the different mandates that like the Literacy Act that they require in order for us to have those assessments. It's just a tremendous amount of work. And so
how many total students does this cover? Ballpark.
I can't answer that. I can try to find out, but it would be every child that's taking the summative, alternate, and practice test, along with the supplemental reading that's required. So I can find out for you how many children or how many tests that would be, but it's pretty much all of them, and so of a particular age for the different assessments.
Any questions? Okay. Bottom of 34.
Okay, this is our contract with Lean Frog Solutions. They are going to provide the consulting services to assist the Department of Education to implement the interventions that we currently have, where we have taken over the Sumter County school system and the Bessemer City school system.
So we took over Sumter in 2023. We took over Bessemer in 2024.
Yes, sir.
August of this year.
Mm-hmm.
Help me understand this.
Sure.
I pulled up the group I read. I've got all the information
Right.
on the head of the group.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds like an outstanding group.
Yes, sir. We entered into an emergency contract initially when Sumter happened to be able to go in and immediately intervene. And so this is going to be a continuance of that work and adding in the Bessemer work. It's my understanding that the Montgomery County intervention was north of $1 million, probably closer to $2 million. And the reason that we contract with a company like this is in order to be able to not have the salaries and the benefits and everything fully charged to the state. So we contract in order to be able to use retired employees. Every school system that we intervene into and take over, by law, we're required to install a chief administrative officer, so that's the CAO, plus there has to be a chief finance officer there, so a CFO. So the majority of this actually goes into the salaries. I think there will be a percentage that goes through to the company, and there are administrative costs. 20% has been held back for administrative, and anything that might not have been foreseen on the front end of the intervention, because once we get in and start digging in, all kinds of things are found. I can say that the people who will be receiving the salaries under this contract will be overseeing the new elementary school, because there will be a new building in Sumter for the elementary school. There are tons of repairs to buildings in Bessemer, so it includes infrastructure plus daily. These people have to be in there working on a day-to-day basis in those LEAs. They also will do a full review of all sorts of processes. I can say that last year, we reviewed all of the school bus routes in Sumter. We were able to reduce them by 10 buses. That's $300,000 in saving per year for Sumter forever, or with inflation, it'll even go up. So last year, the contract cost for what we did with the emergency, the things that were audited through the improvement of processes actually saved more money than what the contract cost in the long run. So we like to get people that are, for example, retired superintendents that have really good expertise that could come at a very expensive price tag, but when we're able to contract, that actually reduces it for us. Now, we also may have the ability to charge back some costs to the actual school systems in the end, but that's when we get to the end of the intervention, and we're not there yet.
How long does the intervention last?
As long as it needs to. And so we try to make sure that that's as short as possible. But for example, we're just going into Bessemer now. We had to do a full evaluation of all of the properties, all of the curricula, all of the employees, all of their financial processes, the way that they do their books, everything for Sumter. So now we know what we're going to need to do in Sumter. We've done the evaluation. We're moving forward, consolidating buildings, selling buildings. Some buildings were condemned. Now we start in Bessemer doing that, and then we'll move forward with the work that needs to be done there.
What happened in Sumter?
When these interventions occur, there are usually there are a statutory list of various different things that can be amiss that would require the state superintendent to step in and become the superintendent of that school system. I'm not prepared to be able to tell you all of the things that occurred in Sumter or in Bessemer at this time, but we can definitely talk about that if you would like to find out more about what was amiss there.
Two things. A, I know there's a bus route off-the-shelf computer program you can buy that routes your buses for you and saves you a tremendous amount of money. You know, many of you know, I build hunting camps for a living. So I spend a lot of time in these woods, and I'm in Sumter County right now building one, and I go by that high school fairly regularly. Ladies and gentlemen, that is one of the most beautiful high schools I've ever seen. It is massive, and I hear it's got a jumbotron in the gym that would just blow your mind. I mean, it's unbelievable. I ride by, I'm impressed. I mean, that's one of the biggest high schools I've ever seen. Now I come to find out it's been taken over by the school board.
There was a pretty vast mismanagement of resources, along with management of the various different properties, and also looking at properties that are pretty extensive but have only a few children there.
Yeah.
So I know that they're consolidating properties. I believe there were some properties that were already condemned. We also found, just problems in having duplicate curricula without a really good management system to even keep up with what was being purchased. The school bus routes, they clearly weren't managing them with software or with people. And so in a small evaluation of that, we were able to reduce 10 buses, and that's a lot of money. And so it was just a series of unfortunate
I understand.
things.
I work in these counties. I understand completely. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Senator Elliott.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Tina, I appreciate what y'all are doing here, and I think it's necessary, and I'm glad that you're doing it. I have to ask, this is listed as a sole source contract.
Yes, sir.
I cannot in my mind, and because I appreciate what you're trying to do here, I am trying to find the reason. But we have retired educators all over the place. We have people that have turned around troubled school systems before. We have, how and why are we not looking and putting this out for bid? Now, you had them under an emergency contract, correct?
Yes, sir. And I think that was the genesis of it. It goes to the particular personnel that are affiliated with this group and the suite of resources that they're able to instantly come in and take care of. And so that's why we needed them immediately in Sumter. And so
that's why we have emergency contracts and we executed that. But why not go from an emergency contract to an RFP while the emergency contract is in place?
Right.
Why we preach on sole
Right.
source every single meeting.
Yes, sir.
I don't understand why we didn't go from an emergency to an RFP. And listen, they got a leg up. They're already in the building. They're
It's true.
already there.
Yes,
Why
sir.
not RFP this?
I do understand that. My understanding is the people were already installed, that were on contract, that are doing the work, and when you come out of the emergency period, they're only getting started on where they are with what they need to do, and rather than stopping work and doing an RFP to start over with a new group to continue that work, we just moved forward with the group that had started it for Sumter in hopes that within a year we'll be through with the work. But Bessemer happened at the same time. And so in order for the geography of it to bring in and do the exact same thing we're doing in Sumter, we just went forward with the same group but added Bessemer into the contract rather than starting over the process, because we're getting some tremendous results with the individual group that's there and they're already invested in the work. And so rather than pulling out and trying to find new people to start over the work, because it's an evaluation of processes and...
If I may, because
Yes, sir.
Nobody's asking you to stop the work. Continue under the emergency contract. Understand that the emergency contract, we need to get out from underneath an emergency contract at some point.
Yes, sir.
But while we're under the emergency contract, RFP it.
Yes, sir.
And the folks that are currently doing this work clearly have a leg up. They clearly understand what's going on. I understand you don't want to change horses, but simply saying we had an emergency contract and then we're going to deem it sole source just because
Right.
we
Well,
want
with
these
the-
same people to keep doing it.
Noted. With the RFP process, though, you're not necessarily able to completely do a rubric where the people doing it get the leg up. And so,
Of course
but I
not.
do understand what you're saying.
And you wouldn't
that's
want them
noted.
to. You wouldn't want them to.
Right.
Right?
Yes, sir.
But when there's no competition, I mean, these are public tax dollars. These are state tax dollars where they should be local tax dollars. That's a different argument. But it really chaps those of us that are sitting here saying this is not and should not be a sole source contract. I get that it's seamless. I get that they were there under the emergency basis. I'm not seeing a justification for sole source, and I may be alone on this. I don't see it.
I do understand your argument. I do.
Why don't we hold this and then we'll put our heads together?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, I will tell you this. I do think what they are doing is important. I would, Tina, like some opportunities to ask some additional questions. I do not want to hold this for a long period of time because that you're doing good work. You need to keep doing it. But
And we are midstream,
I
and we're trying to
understand. And
forge forward and build the building and the things that we're,
I got it.
you know, so.
But we say sole source, sole source, sole source, sole source all the time. And here's yet another example of, did this really need to be sole source? I don't think it did. But, Mr. Chairman, that's your decision. And I would say I want to continue to have this conversation very earnestly, but I also do not want to upset the apple cart in what you're trying to do there.
I appreciate that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
We'll try and talk.
Yes, sir. I'll be available after.
Let me add for the members of the committee, I'm sitting here reading the audit findings. That place was a disaster.
Yes, sir.
I mean, they weren't keeping financial records. They weren't paying their stuff to the IRS and had to pay interest and penalties. They failed to maintain their records. They failed to comply with their own. I mean, this is a disaster over there.
It is, but we're trying to rebuild it and
something.
move forward to take care of these kids and fix it. And that's what we're trying to do.
This is
So-
proof positive. You can build a nice building, but that's not going to fix your problem.
And sometimes you maybe didn't need the nice building.
Well, then that building's fabulous, but obviously that's not the problem in Sumter County. The problem is, so anyway, I just caution my colleagues. Apparently, they are over there working very diligently to fix, this sounds like Wilcox County when we took it over years ago. Same problems. So thank you.
Yes, sir.
We're grateful for what you're doing there. All right, let's go to the top of 35.
Okay, that's going to be our Power School Group RFP. This is the student information system for the state. So the contractor will provide the statewide student information system and offer products and services to the state. The platform will be the basis of all data entry for Alabama students. And it was RFP'd. This will be for 1 year. Very expensive, very robust, and used every day by the teachers and the students and the parents and the
Will we be into
researchers.
maintenance next year on this one?
We're already contracted with them. We RFP'd, so it will be a continuance of where we are. We have done a lot of negotiating with them about the things that we need to adjust for the future, and ongoing maintenance and support is a part of the contract.
Does this have anything to do with workforce development issues that?
It's a tool. So a lot of the different things that are being used, like the metrics for the assessment data that we did the testing earlier on, can be brought in. It provides a really strong resource for teachers, superintendents, principals, because there's a dashboard, and you can curate what you want to see in the dashboard, and you can look at it for the progress of a particular child or for a particular class of children or children in a particular teacher's room, and you can look at all kinds of different stats, and you can do all kinds of different work on that dashboard. So it can definitely be used for most things. It's just a matter of curating the different tiles and what you want and how they want to use it. So,
All right, Tina, thanks. I'd love to chat either this afternoon or in the morning so we can get the previous one dealt with.
yes, sir, I'll be
Thank
here.
you.
Thank you.
All right, environmental, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Just wanted
Representative
to-
England.
Real quick, Power School's best thing ever invented. I swear to you.
Thank you.
My kid probably hates it.
There are people who hate it, but it is a
because-
very robust tool.
Because when I was in school, I could live off of a bad grade on a test for a week.
Nobody knew.
I get his test grade by the end of the day. So before he gets home,
Yes, sir.
we're already raring to go when he gets to the house. So, so that's the.
And I'll give a shout out to Stacy Royster. She is our staffer at the office that is all things Power School. And so we have different things that come along, like now looking at the kindergarten and if we're, the mandatory kindergarten type discussion, and what kind of assessments can we look at? What kind of data can we pull? And in minutes, we can have amazing data about all kinds of things because of this platform.
Oh yeah, and then also most school systems at points in time had truancy issues.
Right.
And by the time, if he's late for homeroom, I get 4 text messages.
That's right.
So
Yes, sir.
there's no excuse. You should know where your kid is because they know immediately.
Yes, sir.
So this is money well spent. Great program.
Thank you so much for your comment.
Thanks, Tina. All right, environmental management, Alabama Tools.
Good afternoon. My name is Bart Fletcher. I am not with the Environmental Management. This contract is actually through the Underground and Above Ground Storage Tank Trust Fund Management Board, which is an unstaffed board created to oversee the state's underground and above ground storage tank trust fund. And so I am here on behalf of Alabama Tools, which is a subsidiary of the association that I work for, the Petroleum and Convenience Marketers of Alabama. And we provide this training program for the UST-AST Management Board. ADEM merely helps us process the paperwork because I don't know anything about it, and there is no staff for the actual management board. This is an extension of a contract that's been in place for about 9 years. It's a 1-year extension. I've heard a lot of conversations about sole source. We are a sole source We started out that way, again, because frankly, with no staff, the management board did not have the ability to know how to write an RFP. And this is a program that our sister organization in Kentucky started through their Department of Environmental Management. They gave us the exclusive rights to offer it here in Alabama. And so it was something that did not have to be created. It was already in existence, and the UST-AST Management Board felt like that it was appropriate at that time to provide the continuing education. So,
Were you here, was it we did an underground?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Yes, sir.
I remember.
This is the same, you allowed us to have a 2-year contract at that point. This is the same contract. The Finance Department has granted us a 1-year extension of that 2-year contract, and then they ask us to try and get an RFP for next year at the end of this 1-year extension. I will take that back to the UST-AST Management Board, and to the best of our ability, we'll try and figure out how to get a proper state RFP done and sent out.
We'll track that. All right, okay, we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you. Examiners of Public Accounts.
Afternoon, I'm Rachel Riddle. These are 5 contracts, 3 which are just a time extension since the CPA firms we contracted with did not complete the audits within the time we provided for them. 2 are contracts for next year for 2 of the CPA firms. 1 CPA firm we did not recontract with because they were not able to complete an audit for an entity and had no justifiable reason, so we're not going to renew that contract.
All right, I'll take it from there, Ms. Riddle. All right, 36 questions, 37 questions. I'm good, 38 on both. I got 1 comment.
Did the contracts get submitted correctly?
The top of, no, top of 38.
Can I explain something real
Yeah,
quick while you're
that'd be
looking?
helpful.
This is an amount of the contracts for the CPA firms that our department is having to pay for. Now, we on the back end get reimbursed for part of this cost from the local boards of education.
Mhm.
So it will net a lot less.
Okay. Yeah, the dates that was the question I got from a colleague, just to get through year end for 24. Okay, good at the top. I'm good at the bottom. And then top of 39 questions. Thank you, Ms. Riddle. Finance.
Good afternoon, Taylor Nichols, Department of Finance, and Daryl Masters as well. I'll handle the first one with CMH Architects. This is an extension, an amendment to our architecture contract for the elevator project in the state capitol.
Any questions?
Are we getting rid of the old ones?
Getting new elevators, yes. Well, a lot of machinery, yes, sir.
They're really cool. Or, don't throw them away. I got a colleague that I think would want them.
All right, as we go to the top of page 40, pages 40 through 44 are all same principles, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, sorry.
All right.
Not in court today.
Yeah, Courtney.
The 10 contracts we have next are all contracts for property adjustment services. The contracts vary only basically in amount that we would pay from $300,000 to $1 million. Mainly they're dependent on the size of the company and the company's number of adjusters and their ability to deal with disasters that we may have. The state insurance fund insures now upwards of $80 billion of property across Alabama. We hope we never reach any of these amounts that are listed in these contracts, but they have to be there in case we have another set of tornadoes as we did 12 years ago, or a direct strike by a hurricane or something like that. These are, all will be utilized to some degree, but most are just in case amounts.
Okay. All right. Questions on 40?
Yes, sir.
41, 42, 43? Sorry? Pilot? Page 40?
44 bottom pilot.
44 bottom.
Is there anything that we can do to supply you with other information, or? Right.
All right. That's it. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Forensic science, top of 45.
Good afternoon, Chairman Roberts, members of the committee. I got one contract before you. This is with Birchfield Pinion Associates.
Could you state your name?
It's Mark Bass with
Thank you.
Forensic Sciences, sorry. It's a contract amendment that provides for a time extension and makes an adjustment to the cost of the contract pursuant to the DCM formula for our Dothan Regional Laboratory.
How's that coming?
It's coming to be completed in spring of '25.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you.
Historical Commission, bottom of 45.
Good afternoon. My name is Chad Stinson. I'm with the Historical Commission. Today I have a no-cost time extension amendment in front of you with Thompson Engineering.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
That's roofing, correct? Yes. The lighthouse? Okay, thank you. House Majority Leader. You wanna present that?
I'll take that one. That's an existing contract, and unfortunately, our clerk had to go clerk. The people in the House going to hold it had to go to another meeting to clerk it. So that's just an existing renewal of a contract that we've had for years and years and years.
Okay. All right. Human Resources.
Good afternoon. I'm Jennifer Bush with DHR Legal. We have 3 contracts. The first is a 2-year renewal with Fieldprint Inc. It's for digital fingerprinting services on people who require background checks. It is 20% state funds and 80% federal.
Quick question.
Yes, sir.
Is there any way Aaliyah could do this for us?
It is my understanding that they cannot. But if you need more information on why they cannot, I would have to get back with you.
I'd love to know that. I'm not sure they would want to. It was just.
I don't want to speak for them to whether
Yes, ma'am.
they can't or don't want to.
Understand. Okay. Any questions? Thank you. Let's talk afterwards. We're not holding the contract, though. All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. The second contract is a new 2-year contract with Conduent State and Local Solutions, and it is for the Child Support Payment Center. It's 34% state funds and 66% federal funds.
Any questions? All right. Public consulting.
Yeah, Public Consulting Group, this is a 1-year renewal, and it is for SNAP Employment and Training. It's 100% federal funds. It is the last 1-year renewal we will do, and we are now going to RFP it again.
Okay. How many people? Any idea?
I do not. I can find that out.
If you'd let me know, that'd be great.
Okay, thank you.
All right, any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Insurance. Here again, we're going to go through page 48 to 57. There are 20 contracts for actuarial CPA services. I don't know how many staff you could hire with these funds. Anyway, I had a lot of questions from different folks about this. So
That's fine.
why don't you start off and just tell us why we're hiring this out versus being able to do it inside?
So I'm Heather Lowe with the Department of Insurance.
Yes.
These are our routine contracts that we bring before every 2 years normally. I believe these are 2 years with the 3 one-year renewal options. These are just for when our staff is already worked to their capacity and we need them to step in to help with some of the examinations or actuarial services. Not a surprise to many, but actuaries are hard to come by, especially when you're working for state government. So that's one of the reasons for the actuarial services and exams. You have some of the same issues there, but we utilize our staff first, and if we need to dive in deeper, we go through the contract route. So these are what we have on hand to plug in those holes.
Somewhere around $8.7 million we're going to pay outside.
These are the maximum amounts. They're not normally utilized to their extent. And we also don't always utilize each contract.
All right. We did have some submission errors. I think you're aware of those. And almost every other page, as a matter of fact, in this bundle. We can do better, right?
I believe there were some forms left out, and we have some checklists in place.
If
Yes,
we
sir.
wouldn't do that in the future, we would be most grateful.
We
All
will
right,
do our
any
best, sir.
questions on 48 to 57?
I have one, Mr. Chairman.
Yes, sir.
Are any of these retroactive?
No, sir.
Okay, good. We frown on that.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. All right, that gets us through 57 on to 58. You're still here. Go ahead.
Just, do you have a specific question on that page?
I'm sorry, you're correct. You're good? Sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Had it was off a page there. Thank you. Labor.
Good afternoon, everyone. Arthur Ray, Alabama Department of Labor. We have 2 contracts up with you today. The first contract is Ask Telemarketing. This contract this will be the culmination of this contract, and thankfully so, because it turns out that the work is almost finished now, getting through the backlog of the unemployment claims during the pandemic. $500,000 for the last extension here. That's all federally funded because unemployment is, of course, a federal program and we administer it.
So you don't anticipate any RFP in another group for this?
That is correct. We do not anticipate that.
Okay. Any questions? All right, bottom.
Second contract, CCR Architect and Interiors. They're undergoing a massive renovation of our building, and that is
Building
going-
here in Montgomery?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Just down from the Capitol, or down from here as well. We've already got a use study being done, and that'll indicate the extent of these renovations. Right now, this is a contingent contract up to $853,000, which represents a percentage, the way I read the contract, a percentage of what's estimated to be the initial project, $7.5 million. But that'll all be dependent on what the use study shows, so.
Questions?
Yeah, if I can, Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
sir.
Arthur, just, we're the contract review committee, right?
Right.
And so the description says open-ended agreement for architectural, I mean, that's the first, for an unspecified amount of work and an open-ended agreement for, I appreciate you explaining the exact amount there as a percentage of proposed, but are there parameters on this agreement of some sort or another?
This is based on, what'll happen is the use study will then define the parameters. They'll say, this is what we're going to do or needs to be done, and then we can put a fine number on it.
And we anticipate the use study to be $825,000?
Oh, no, sir. No, that's, I think, $10,000.
I understand. Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you for clearing that up.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Senator Elliott. Okay, sir, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Medicaid.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. My name is Nick Hines, Assistant General Counsel with the Alabama Medicaid Agency. The Alabama Medicaid Agency has 12 contracts before you today, with 7 of the 12 contracts essentially being the same contract as the 7 contracts for the 7 Alabama coordinated health networks across the state. The first contract is with one such entity, Alabama Care Network Mid-State. Each one of the ACHNs, or Alabama Coordinated Health Networks, is going to provide care management services for the agency's general Medicaid population, but also, and in particular, the maternity population and individuals that have medically complex conditions.
Questions? Thank you, sir. And we can roll through these next.
I don't have any questions on this yet.
Let's go bottom of 60. Any questions? Top of 61. Okay, let's go to the bottom of 61.
Yes, sir. This is with Keystone Peer Review Organization, LLC. KeyPro. KeyPro provides medical quality reviews that's going to include, as well as quality reviews, the agency's prior authorizations to determine necessity for private duty nursing, hospice, durable medical equipment, things like that.
Does this have anything to do with PBMs?
No, sir, I don't believe so. The agency does not have any PBMs. Is that correct?
RFP'd again when?
This will be, I believe this is either the last or the second to last extension.
It was awarded in 2021, June of 2021.
This should be either, I can check the exact extension date. I believe is there one more, Kelly? There'll be one more extension.
2 year?
Yes, sir.
1 year.
Oh, no, just a 1 year extension, so
Okay.
2 more.
All right, questions? All right, 62.
And pages 62 through 64, these will be the remaining 6 Alabama Coordinated Health Networks.
Just for information, I think they sent out requests for proposals to 301 groups and only had 2 responses on these that we have. Am I correct on that?
That is correct. I think there might have been one more response. Is that right? So 3 total responses on the ACHN proposals. Only 3, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, 3. Okay. All right, any questions on 62? Okay. So, on top of 63, 62 requests for proposals, you got 7. Any questions? 64, any questions? 65? And 66. No, I'm sorry, that's mental health, sorry. We're good, Nick.
All right, thank you.
Brian Penn, Mental Health. We have 13 contracts, and they're all different. The first one is Shaco Springs. That's the annual conference that's conducted at, it's for a room and board for 900 attendees with mental illness. It's a 3-day and 2-night training and educational meeting.
Okay, any questions? Okay, sir. Top of 67.
Okay. That's Aaron Burleson. This is an amendment. What this contractor does is help our substance abuse prevention provider network meet SAMHSA requirements and ensure providers are trained and certified to meet SAMHSA standards.
Any questions?
Next is Guidehouse. It's an amendment to add more time. This contractor works with the department and providers regarding the 1115 substance abuse waiver, develop a training and technical assistance plan.
Okay, we're good there. Top of 68. Initially rejected, dollar figures on cover didn't match contract, was corrected. We can do better than that.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Any questions here? Okay. Bottom of 68. Explain why is sole source, please, sir.
Well, this is an amendment, so,
No cost time extension.
right, this is just, this is an amendment to add time, and I can't remember why it was sole source. I believe they're the sole operator of the National Training and Technical Assistance Career for SAMHSA-funded programs and grantees. And as it relates to CCBHC certification criteria, rate settings, and such as that, that's what I remember as far as why it was sole source.
Okay, questions? Thank you, sir. Top of 69, or only 69?
Southeastern Reimbursement Group is an amendment. What the contractor does is they do reports that are required by CMS for our 3 facilities in Tuscaloosa.
Any questions?
Next is Health Management Associates. This is a renewal. The contractor, what they do is design tools and gather data to facilitate reports to CMS, the department, and Alabama Medicaid regarding the ID, living at home, and community waiver programs. Reports are required by CMS.
Originally solicited in August of 2020, awarded in October 2020. When's it going to be RFP'd again?
I don't know. I would think it would be after this renewal. I can find out.
Okay, that description is a word salad, by the way. It's, I get it, but it's a whole lot of words. It's hard to. Okay, RFP 2025.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
The next one is Guidehouse. This is a renewal, and this is the contractor who works with us as it relates to the EPSDT settlement agreement. Needed more time to work on this and get this completed.
All right, this is a 2021. So we're going 2 years through 2026. So we're just.
Ready 2 years? Yes, sir. It's my understanding this should be completed within this time period. It's my understanding.
Any questions? All right, bottom of 71.
This is FEI. This is a renewal. So what this contractor does is provide updates, technical assistance, reports, and maintenance to the Substance Abuse and Prevention Services Information System. And the system's used to process claims, collect data, Medicaid processing, block grant processing, increase level of reporting, and increase accountability. This
is a 2020 contract.
Yes, sir. This was, I do remember this one was, it is sole source because they designed this program and it's proprietary in nature. So what this is, my understanding, this is strictly maintenance and upkeep for the system for the next, what is it, next year?
Through 20,
next 2 years.
years.
Next 2
Yes,
years,
sir.
yes, sir.
All right, questions? Okay, sir.
Okay, next is Columbus Medical Services. This is an amendment. Columbus, yeah. The contractor, he provides training and technical assistance to the department regarding the community waiver program and help ensure the program is in compliance with CMS. Also, they develop and implement training and provide technical assistance on the community waiver program for our third-party providers and for direct support staff.
Okay, this was RFP August 2020, awarded October 2020. Do we know these are the best guys, or are we just going to keep going with the same group?
I can ask when they're going to do the next RFP. I would think it would probably be the next round after this.
I get it's 100% federal funds, but okay. I'd love an answer on that if you could, please.
Yes, sir.
All right, 73.
It's Claris Consulting Group. This is a renewal. Claris is an Alabama-based consulting firm that has helped the department develop, implement, evaluate, and when necessary, adjust its strategic plans. Claris has provided leadership coaching to our key and upcoming leaders in the department. The contractor will continue our strategic planning and coaching work.
Comments? I know everybody's getting tired of listening to this, and I get it's a long day, but it is our job. And any idea on RFP for this or effectiveness?
I do believe this will be the last round. The reason they didn't RFP this time is would be disruptive to the strategic planning process that's in place now.
Okay.
Next one is public partnerships. This is an amendment. And what the contractor does is he's a physical agent who coordinates the billing and payment services for families and individuals who are self-directing services. And what they do is provide accounting services such as payroll, withholding taxes for those who choose to do direct services, provide background checks on service providers. They handle the billing and they handle the payments to the providers.
And last time RFP, 226 requests for proposals, sent out 3 responses, so.
Yes, sir.
So RFP'd
RFP will be coming up at the,
into this?
was this an amendment or renewal?
Yeah, it was January of 23. Started, I believe, 01 January 23.
They'll probably, I'm guessing, they'll probably do a renewal and then do another RFP.
Okay.
And the last one is Culariant Quality Solutions. This is an amendment. The contractor conducts in-person national core indicator survey with 400, sample of 400 independent and living at home waiver participants plus 50 community waiver program participants. The purpose of the survey is to gather information regarding the quality of the waiver and CWP programs, provide information for oversight, and provide a comparison of results with those of other states.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Midwifery Board.
Hello, my name is Laura Reeder, and I'm the chair of the State Board of Midwifery. Today, we just have an administrative services contract renewal, and we did go through the RFP process, and we only had 1 applicant for that, and so we are about to sign our 1-year renewal for the same amount of $6,000.
Okay. Questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thanks.
Occupational therapy. Occupational therapy. Physical therapy. No show for them.
Good afternoon. I'm Kathy Miller. I'm with the Alabama Board of Physical Therapy, and I have one contract to present today, and that is for our wellness program and Dr. Michael Garver.
All right. Any questions?
Mr. Chairman, I just have one thing that I wanted to point out to the committee. You'll notice this is the same provider for the occupational therapy. I'm sorry they're not here because I wanted to question them about this. But you've got the exact same provider doing ostensibly the very similar function for what seems to be at least tangentially related board. The interesting thing, if you note on the documents, is that in this instance, it's listed as sole source and RFP not required. It's not the case on the occupational therapy board. I can't imagine that I can't imagine that it's not the case on the occupational board, although occupational therapy board, although it's not listed as such. And I just thought that was of note.
I agree. And so noted as well. And the question was, is this RFP-able?
It will be next year. Christine Cook signed off on it and stamped it as being approved for 25, but will need to be RFP'd in 26.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Private Investigator Board.
Good afternoon. I'm Ben Albritton. I'm Assistant Attorney General and Board Counsel to the Private Investigative Board. This is a contract amendment to the second year of a 2-year RFP contract, basically a 5% increase.
Okay, any questions? Senator Elliott?
No, I just appreciate this justification, not saying that they could do this, that this group was the only one that could do this and possess some all-knowing knowledge that our nice state employees didn't possess. So anyway, thank you for not putting that in the justification this time.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, guys. Public Health.
Good afternoon, Sancha Howard for the Department of Public Health. We have 2 non-legal contracts and 1 legal contract before the committee today. The first at the bottom of page 77 is for CBiz Optimus. It is an amendment. It was RFP'd, and this is an amendment. This is year 5. There will be an RFP issued again next year.
Music to my ears. Thank you.
The next, at the top of page 78, is a new contract for 2 years, and it is for our department's home health program. This individual is a CPA. The prior contractor actually retired, and this person was actually a consultant for the prior contractor, so we're familiar with her. She was the only one that responded to the RFP.
Okay. Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Wait a minute. Guess what I'm back to?
BBUWP. We submitted a lot of additional information.
I got it.
Okay, I don't have it in front of me.
Well, you don't need it. I'll just read it to you.
Okay.
Let me see here. Mr. Patrick O'Donnell, you spent $40,390 on his septic tank. Nolly Harris, you spent $32,737.50 on that septic tank. And Ms. Harris then turned around and sold the property to somebody else, which is exactly what I was worried about them doing. I can keep going down and reading to 25. You're averaging about $32,000 per septic tank. $32,000 per septic tank. After you include all the other costs you have, like your overhead. But y'all were putting them in, where's the volunteer fire department I saw in here? On one of them. Y'all are not clearing title on this property. Y'all are getting waivers.
That is correct.
The maintenance, the construction, installation, and maintenance of the on-site septic shall comply with the state board rule. So you're waiving the ownership requirements, but you want to hold these people to the installation, construction, installation, and maintenance. If you don't know who owns the property, who's going to be held liable for the maintenance?
It's my understanding that the State Committee of Public Health issued the waiver at a state committee meeting recently. It's also my understanding that as far as maintenance costs, BBUWP had another program in place where individuals were paying a certain amount of money to pay towards the maintenance costs.
Pay for it, yeah, you're paying a certain amount of cost. So the taxpayers are spending millions of dollars to put septic systems into property. We don't know who owns it. Who's going to track these pieces of property, and who's going to track the maintenance schedule on them? The taxpayers again? Look, I know y'all, listen, I know the Department of Justice has come down on y'all and is forcing y'all to do this, but this is a classic example of Washington not knowing what they're doing. Because these systems, if you put a septic tank in, somebody's already sold their property to somebody else, and I'm sure they made money on it. And nobody's going to take care of it. Nobody's going to pump it. They're going to probably add more trailers to it. They're going to overload it. We're not going to solve the problem. We're just kicking the can down the road using taxpayers' dollars to do it.
Sir, some of the staff that submitted the additional information are not here. I just know we submitted a lot of additional information, and I understand your concerns, but we'll be happy to answer any additional questions that you have at a later time.
I know y'all are in, I know the Department of Justice is all over y'all and forcing y'all to do this, but like I said, you're just kicking the problem down the road because you're not solving it. Because nobody's going to be held liable, nobody's going to be accountable for maintaining these systems. They're going to fail, and it's going to be the same problem. When they fail, you're going to have raw sewage running all over the place. Just going to be years down the road from where it is now. So, thank you.
Thank you. So we have an additional contract. Do you want me to wait to come back up here? Okay, I'll just wait. Thank you.
That'd be great. Thanks. Public Library Service.
Mr. Chairman, while she's coming up, I don't want to belabor the point, but Representative Pringle's right. And and the Department of Health did not ask for this, but this is a mess, will be a mess. We can see it coming. He's talked about ownership issues from the very beginning, and he's right about all of this. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Nancy Pack, Director of the Alabama Public Library Service. I'm here today. We have one contract and to reconcile some actual costs with C.C. Lynchfield.
Any questions? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Rehabilitative Services.
Good afternoon. I'm Shay Cannon. I'm the Chief Financial Officer with the department. We have 3 contracts to present for your review and approval. The first is to provide professional design services for the generator replacement project we have. It's no cost extension. We're just extending it to December to make sure we can close out the contract
All right,
and
any
get the
questions?
architect paid.
All right.
The other 2 are to provide statewide certificate-based job coach training to our supported employment providers.
How is this a sole source contract?
Both individuals have copyrighted material that we have used in conjunction to provide the training. Had great success with it, so we want it to continue.
If you or I got together and we wrote something, we could copyright it and go out there.
Probably not me. I don't know if it
I'm
would
not
be as
a writer
successful.
either, so I get that.
I'm an accountant, not a writer.
Right,
so.
I understand. All right, any questions on 80? Any questions on 81? Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Revenue.
Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry. Me again. Sorry, 1 second, if you don't mind. Guys, just because you like a program and just because it's meeting your needs does not make it sole source. Just because it doesn't interrupt the strategic planning of an organization does not make it qualify as sole source. Please hear me on that. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Elliott.
Good afternoon, Chairman, committee members. I'm Mary Martin Mitchell, and I'm Executive Counsel at the Alabama Department of Revenue, and we've got 4 contracts for your consideration today. The first one is Informatrix. This is for our financial institution data match. It is to extend for 1 more year, and it's $65,824.
Originally RFP,
2020.
yeah,
Yes, sir. So this is the last extension without an RFP.
okay. Any questions? Got a little bit of paperwork issue here.
Okay, I was not aware of that.
No,
but I
we
should
can
have
do
been.
much better, especially coming from you guys.
I know.
And y'all are great normally, okay.
Hopefully it
All right.
wasn't mathematical.
That's
Okay.
good. All right, fast.
Our second is Fast Enterprises. This is a no-cost time extension. This is the comprehensive overhaul of the title system for vehicles, vessels, and then we are currently on phase 2 of this project to bring in the large trucks through the international registration plan and international fuel tax agreements. We are working on that, and we're asking for a year extension on the contract.
Senator
Okay.
Elliott, look what you started.
No, sir, I just, Mary Martin, if I could, in the description, if we can put full modernization of current vehicle title registry and then put vessel at the last, at the end, instead of at the.
We wouldn't want to rock the boat, Senator.
Funny.
Senator Elliott may have filed that vessel titling bill.
But it has yielded a complete modernization of the state's
It has.
program, and it is not this. Please don't think that this is all because of vessel titling.
And I will say, we also, this past session, we've been tasked now in 2026 to title ATVs, which will be a lot more on this system. So it was prime.
Yes.
Okay.
All right, any questions? Thank you. All right, 83, we are.
Okay. The third contract, this is for Randall Riley LLC. It's for an additional $40,000 and an additional year. This is actually the data, the API data we get on both vehicles and vessels for the VIN decoder that's used for property tax purposes for vehicles and obviously for bond amounts under vessels.
Who sets the value of our automotive, truck, everything else?
It is, the way we do it here is just a mass appraisal. So they're not looking at the mileage on your individual car, but they're looking at your VIN, what you should have as far as interior on it, engine. And so this program actually through the API pushes it to the local officials and it uses that based on the year of the car.
Is there any appellate process there? I may or may not have just renewed car tags and it's about $20,000 more than the vehicle's worth. Just a thought.
Right. And, you know, again, it's a property tax principle, so it's looking at the lien date from October 1. We're starting to see those come back down, but again, that will be in arrears. But yes, they are still high. I don't dispute that.
It means that we're just collecting more revenue as a state from our taxpayers is my frustration on that. Okay, any questions?
Okay.
Right.
And the last contract we have is for Clio Inc. It's known as Class Wallet. This was just RFP'd and just awarded. This is to bring up the Choose Act platform as we expand school choice for the state of Alabama, and we're looking forward to get working on that.
This is a
very
big
shortly.
deal. Big deal for our state. Okay, thank you, madam.
Thank you.
Supreme Court. We're on the top of page 84.
Good afternoon. I'm Ann Franklin with Supreme Court. We have 3 contracts before you today. The first one is by order of the court back in 1994 for an alternative dispute resolution program.
Any questions? All right, bottom of 84.
The next 2 are for pro bono services in civil cases. And the amount was awarded in our appropriation bill for 2025. And it's split between Center for Dispute Resolution and Alabama Law Foundation.
Okay, that takes care of it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Tourism.
Good afternoon. I'm Lee Santel, Director of Alabama Tourism Department, and we have a contract advertising, Lucky and Company in Birmingham. This is a change. The RFP went out by the State Purchasing Department. We had 8 responses and 2 finalists. Lucky Advertising rated best of the people in our staff who rated them.
Offline, I'd love to know who the 8 were and who the top two were. This is fascinating.
Oh,
It's something else we're trying to work with the CPO across the state, and would love to talk with you, Lee, after this. Any
Intermark
questions here?
Advertising was the other, and they were the incumbent after 10 years. So we made a change.
Okay. All right, any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you, Mayor.
Transportation. Long wait, slow day for you.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I don't know what happened. This is a real property appraisal, Ronald Parker, who's going to go on our pre-qualified list.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Hey, let me ask you a question on my favorite subject here, Linden Bypass. Y'all are paving that road now.
They're really rocking and rolling on it.
But you know, I went out 28, US, was it 28? Yeah. And that's for the second phase. Somebody told me y'all were letting the bond issue for the second phase, $300 million bond issue?
You're talking, Linden Bypass was regular design bid build. You're talking about the design build portion, as I assume what you're saying, the second phase?
Yeah, that's the second
Yes.
phase. That's the one north of 28 all the way up to 48.
Yeah, we're working on the rest. Everything but Linden for the whole 75 miles is going to go a bond issue shortly, yes.
So you've bonded and paid all the way up till you hit US 28, correct?
I'd have to look, I don't remember.
Because I went out 28 the other day and I'm not seeing where you're crossing the road. But you're
Yeah,
paving.
this was strictly just the bypass is what's been done so far.
Oh, I know.
Okay.
And y'all did it with absolutely no federal permits, correct?
No, that's normal federal,
So y'all got
federal permitted, yes.
So we're doing an 80-20 split on this bypass like we do with every other highway project in the state.
Yes, I believe so, that's correct.
Let's find out.
Okay, I'll let you.
I want to know, if we're getting the 80-20 federal split, that's one thing. But if we're doing it with no federal permits at total cost to the state?
No, I'll double check, but it should be 80-20. But when you're saying permits, we got the normal permits.
You got the normal federal permits for the
For the
federal.
bypass.
For the
For the
bypass.
bypass.
The feds are paying 80% of the cost of this
I believe,
construction.
I'll double check that it is, I'm sure it is, but
I don't think they are because Black Warrior Rural Electric
yeah.
had to put a fee on every single one of their people in perpetuity to pay to offset the cost of moving.
You may be right, this may not have been, let me double check.
Yeah.
I was thinking it was federal aid, but I
'Cause
think it may be.
We own that road forever and ever and ever, amen. The federal government will never pay a penny towards the construction or maintenance of that highway if we built it with no permit.
No, that's not, we had the permits, they will.
Okay.
do
Then why
federal
didn't the
funding
federal
for
government, why didn't the federal government help subsidize the cost of moving the power lines for Blackwater Rural Electric?
Because it's 100% state funds. It's a different requirement than federal rules. If
But
you're
the
using
federal government
no,
subsidizes the cost of relocation on all the other highway projects.
If it's federal funds involved, there's different rules from if it's 100% state funds.
Why is it Blackwater has to tax all their people in perpetuity for years to pay for the cost of this
Because under
project?
state rules, they're not eligible.
Why did we do it that way?
Because that's the state rules.
You're telling me that every time we fix a highway in the state of Alabama, these poor rural electrics have to raise their fees?
No, there are certain requirements, and
Yeah.
they just didn't meet the financial, they were financially able to handle it. If one is not a certain pauper status or whatever, then they are reimbursed under state rules.
So Blackwater Rural Electric was so wealthy they could afford to do this on their own.
They didn't meet the financial requirement. It's what it sounds like you're saying. I need to double check that because I was not involved.
Find out if we're getting federal permits and that, or the Fed's paying 80% of the cost of this.
Okay, I'm pretty sure they're not because I'll double
'Cause
check.
we didn't
But
get
I'm pretty sure we did it with Rebuild Alabama money. But let me double check.
Yeah, we didn't get the permit, so forever and ever, we own that road ourselves, and we'll never get federal money.
No. Even if you spend 100% state money, as long as you do certain federal requirements, get an environmental document, whatever, you can spend federal aid on that route.
So why didn't we get the matching money? Why are we paying this whole thing ourselves?
Because that was part of the intent of the Rebuild Alabama program. And we can use that money to do exactly like we're doing the other 75 miles.
So we're going to build this 4-lane from a 2-lane back up to another 2-lane. Yeah, 43, I come down 43 all the time.
No, when it's done, when the other 70 miles is done, it will be 4-lane.
Where it picks up on 43 again, it's 4-lane, north of Providence.
No, it's when we're through with the whole thing, you're just talking about the bypass here.
Yeah.
When it's done, when we do the other 70 miles, which is coming shortly, it will all be 4-lane all the way down.
From where?
From
Thomasville to Tuscaloosa?
That's correct.
Really?
That's the whole point, yeah.
I've never said, y'all built 4 lanes from nowhere to nowhere all over the state because you never finished the projects.
This is what this is. It's going
Well,
4-lane.
Let's go look at let's go look at the Crum-Foshee Highway. Let's go look at Roger Bedford's 4-lane highway from nowhere to nowhere.
I
mean,
wasn't involved in that.
Aldot's famous for not finishing projects, and I got a funny feeling that when our next governor comes in, this project's going to get shelved.
Well, you may be right.
As
There's nothing I can do about that.
John Cooper told me to my face, Aldot has no long-term planning. Aldot only built, he looked me dead in the face and told me, Aldot has no long-term plan. I only build roads and bridges when the governor tells me what road or what bridge she wants built. And that's a quote.
Okay, well, I'll take your word for it. I wasn't there.
Yeah, I'm not mad at you.
We have a plan.
I hate
we
to
do
see
every
that
year. So
project that I don't think is ever going to get finished because I think when Cooper's gone, it's going to get shelved.
well, you may be right.
Clay, thanks for showing up. Youth Services.
Sean Stinson with the Department of Youth Services. We have 11 contracts.
Sean, last name one more time.
Stinson, S-T-I-N-S-O-N. First contract was Bate Geoscience. It's an amendment, a no-cost extension in order to finish up the
All right, I
project.
think, any questions there? All right, the next two both had a couple submittal issues. We can do better. Just, come on, we can do better than that.
Yes, sir.
Okay, Pathway of Baldwin County LLC.
Yeah, it's a residential.
Elliot, did you want to hold that one?
Nope, not at all. Worked with them when I was a commissioner. Actually offloaded a big government agency to some folks that are doing a great job with it. They're fantastic individuals.
Great.
Doing good work.
Rite of passage, any questions? Okay. Lee County Youth Development Center, any questions? Birmingham, Alabama, any questions? New Brockton, Montgomery, any questions? We are sole source on the Montgomery one. There was no one else that could do that?
It's the only
Sexual assault
DOJ.
exam?
It's the only DOJ-approved provider in the area.
Okay. King's Home, any questions? Emma Kids, Functional Family Therapy Services. Questions? Pathway Group Home, Ozark, Alabama. Submission issues on this. We can do better. Any questions? Pathway New Brockton again. Submission issues. It's a big number.
Yes, sir, it's a 48-bed facility.
Sir?
It's a 48-bed facility. Well, not, 48 beds. They're not in the same location. It's 16 beds in 3 different locations.
Okay. Questions? Thank you, sir. All right, legal contracts. Cannabis Commission.
Mr. Chairman, members of the committee, Daniel Autry again. This is a legal services contract, a one-year extension with Wilkerson and Bryan.
Any questions? Okay, sir.
Thank you.
We could get comments, we won't. How about that?
Run while you can.
AG.
Clay Crenshaw with the AG's office. This is a contract with Rebecca Akin to do contract work in our criminal appellate division for $60.
Any
an hour.
questions? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Chiropractor Examiners Board.
Carrie Forbes. This is a 2-year contract for our current board employee, attorney, I'm sorry.
Any questions? Thank you. Corrections.
Clay Crenshaw with the AG's office. This is a contract for Terry Tompkins to represent one defendant in this case up in the Northern District. It's a continuation of her representation.
Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Education. Education? Oh, I'm sorry. Any questions for Tina? Thank you. Finance?
Daryl Masters again for the Division of Risk Management. These two contracts are for our legal providers for the Educators Liability Trust Fund. So second of 2 extensions available under their contract. We raised their fees by $10 per hour. It's the first raise they've had since the inception of the program in 2015, or 14 rather.
All right, any questions? Thank you, sir. Finance? Any questions? Alabama Educators Liability Trust Fund. Okay, we're good. All right, Historical Commission.
Good afternoon, Chad Stinson again. With the Historical Commission, I have a contract here with Kavanaugh, Burr, and Foreman. It is to help us navigate the Africatown and the Clotilda project for mooring, easements, and other issues that may arise.
All right, we had all kind of submission issues with this.
Yeah, that falls solely on me. I found an old form and decided it was the one to go to.
There you go.
As some people may call that, that is a merit employee moment. I apologize.
Thank you, Chad. Any other questions? Thank you.
It was a historic form, though, right?
Human Resources.
I'm Jennifer Bush with DHR Legal, and we have a 2-year legal services contract with Cranford Marshall Legal, LLC. It's $70 in court and out of court, and it's 50% state funds and 50% federal.
All right, and then the next one's with McCool Owens, same hourly rate. Any questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Mental health.
Brian Penn, Mental Health. We have 2 contracts, or both amendments, both with Rose and Harwood. And the reason we're amending them, extending them, is because of the continuing litigation in both cases.
All right, any questions? Thank you, sir.
Yes, sir.
Peace Officer Standards and Training Commission.
Good afternoon, Adrian Arrington. This is just a renewal of our 2-year contract with our commission's attorney.
Any questions? Thank you.
Thanks.
Public Health.
Good afternoon, Sandra Howard for the Department of Public Health. We have 1 contract for James Hampton. He serves as hearing officer for the department over our contested case hearings.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
We're going to go to transportation. Going to skip Senate Pro Tem for a second.
Representative Pringle, I did check. I was thinking there was a little federal aid put in initially, but it was done with Rebuild. It's being paid for by Rebuild Alabama totally.
So there's no federal funds?
No.
Find out how many other road projects we've done that way.
With 100% state funds? We do a lot, but you talking about a dollar amount, or you want?
But I'm talking about major U.S. highways that we bypass the federal government and pay for it ourselves.
Well, okay. We
'Cause,
still
I mean, you
follow
still
federal
got-
requirements, but.
You still got almost 30 miles from Thomasville to this bypass.
Mhm.
And then you're talking about 70 miles north, you're still leaving.
Well, the total amount's about 75, 78 miles, whatever it is. So it's, but anyway, I just want to let you know.
Thank you.
The legal contract we have is for Johnny Rollins. He's going to help us out on a condemnation issue that we had.
Any questions?
What project is this associated with? Never mind. No questions,
No
Mr. Chair.
questions. Thank you very much. All right, last Senate Pro Tem, Balchin Bingham.
Good afternoon, committee. Melissa Tyndall with the Senate Pro Tem's office. Contract with Balchin Bingham for him to do litigation and other services for reapportionment committee.
Any questions? Thank you very much, Ms. Tyndall.
Thank you.
Honored to have you here. That's the last one for today. We'll look forward to being back together beginning next month for Thursday, and it won't be this long. Thanks for those who hung in to the end.